Something very special about this spirituality, which when got by a person makes him different. As we mentioned that it's not a sense knowledge. It's not the knowledge that is acquired through senses, not through reasoning. But it comes as an intuitive experience when we are talking about para, vidya, when we are talking about knowledge of the self. It's something intuitive. Intuitive is the word that we can use because there is no other word in English which can be used here. The word used traditionally is aparoksha anubhuti. Aparoksha means non-direct. It's not indirect, mind it. It's non-direct. The terms are very important in Vedanta, particularly Hindu terminology. They say that it's aparoksha. It's not pratyaksha. Pratyaksha is direct. It is not apratyaksh. Apratyaksh would mean indirect. It is aparoksha, non-direct. That means the knowledge is immediate, knowledge is clear, knowledge is there. But it is not being substantiated through something. It's not that you are concluding through something. You know it, but you do not know it through reasoning, nor do you know it through your senses. That's why it is known as aparoksha. How it comes? Now let me tell you a story from Upanishad. There is that famous story of Satyakam, which many of us, many know. That Satyakam was a young boy who came to a teacher, and the teacher asked him to go to the forest and look after his cows. The teacher gave him some cows, said, when they become 1,000, you come back. Boy Satyakam, he went to the forest and started looking after that cows. And he was there for a pretty long time. And one day suddenly he found the bull of that cow, that herd, walked up to Satyakam and said, we are 1,000, let's go back. And then the bull gave him some instructions on the knowledge of supreme reality and said, the next part will be imparted to you by fire, the sacred fire which you will be lighting in the evening. Now Satyakam was surprised. He lighted his sacred fire, and the fire spoke, told him something more about supreme reality. I said that next part will be told by the swan. Next morning there was a swan, and he taught him and said the last thing will be taught to you by Madgu. It's a small bird. That bird came and taught him. So Satyakam came to know about these things. He took those 1,000 cows, reached the hermitage, his teacher's place. One look by the teacher looked at him and says, your face is shining with the knowledge of supreme reality. Who taught you this? Satyakam said, I never had any teacher other than you. No? You already know. You have that Atma Gyan. Who taught you? No, sir. And then he narrated whatever happened. Teacher says, you already know whatever I have to teach you. Now you're free to go. But if you want, you can stay here for some days and let's discuss things. Now, this story is very interesting. Like those who think themselves to be rationalists, they will question, can a bull talk? Can fire talk? Yes, it very much talks. Provided you are in that supersensuous reality. It's not a story, it's a reality. When you look at Sri Ramakrishna's life, and if you really read it with devotion, not with one of those superficial readers who read between the lines and conclude on their own, you find that Sri Ramakrishna at every step, he is seeing everything as conscious. A cat is passing by and he stops, Sri Ramakrishna stops, wondering, the cat might say something. So you might say that knowledge, those words were coming from within Sri Ramakrishna. Yes, probably, no doubt about it. But the medium was that cat. The way medium here is the bull. The medium here is that fire. What knowledge is coming? The knowledge that made his face shine. Now if you look at the religious literature of the Hindus, you will find that, for example, Totapuri, when he had a look at Sri Ramakrishna, he says, here is a fit recipient of the supreme knowledge. And Sri Ramakrishna's disciple Swami Brahmananji was there. He had once gone to temple at Puri, and he just looked at one person and said, he's a Brahmagyani. They say that a man who knows his true self, one who knows about Atman, one who knows about Brahman, his face shines in a different way. It's not the shine that you find in people who apply lots of beauty creams. It's a different kind of glow is there. And that can be recognized only by the persons who had this self-realization. So, now what is that realization that makes a person's face glow and a person overcome everything in this world? It says that when you get into that meditative mode, the way Satyakam went, he was into a meditative mode, looking after the cows of his teacher. He is now into a meditative mode. When you get deeper and deeper into silence, those who heard on the Vedas, we were discussing how words are born of words, words are also born of silence, and words are born of stillness. When that mind goes into that mode of stillness, a stage comes when everything that is around you dies away. And then you actually come to see that you are not this body, you are not this mind, you are not this ego. And you realize that there is something conscious, which is kind of a conscious light within you. And you realize that you are that. This is known as, there is a very famous mantra in Kathopanishad itself where it says, Angushta matra jyoti riva dhumakaha. There is that spiritual reality within everybody, which is something like a thumb, lighted thumb of consciousness. There is not light. Many people confuse it with some kind of divine light. When we say divine light, it's basically consciousness which appears as light. Once you have seen that, you suddenly realize that you are not this. To give you an example, there are small kids who identify themselves with their maybe clothes or their belongings. Try taking the toy of a kid and he will fight for it. Try to take the cloth of a boy, he will shout at you. Because he identifies himself with that. As he grows slowly, he identifies only with his body. And there are great poets and thinkers. They will say that, let my body go to ruins. I should be able to think. For them, mind is more important than body. Body is needed, but mind is more important. For example, we have this Hawking, the great physicist, Stephen Hawking. He is all mind. His body is not important. He identifies himself with the mind, not with the body. If he had identified himself with his body, he would have continued to lament the way we lament when we have headache. And then you have these spiritual persons who, when have their realizations, they know that they are not this body, not even that mind, the way Stephen Hawking thinks himself to be, but the pure consciousness that resides within him. And then he also realizes that the same reality, the same spiritual reality resides in others too. And from there,